All right, so what we have here is gonna be 4 steps we're gonna be going through. It's gonna be the setup, lead by example, gestures, and reflection. This is gonna be a little bit unique based off something that you may have heard from other people or other mentors or other coaches or in school even, right? Because everyone is very focused about different things, but here, we're here to be exceptional, focus on interpersonal skills and be in the top 1%. So without further ado, the first thing we're gonna be talking about is the setup. And this is gonna be really just the basic stuff, okay? So the basics you need before you become the top 1%, right? Everything on the right here is the basics. So everyone is very concerned about their resume, their cover letter, and all the basics, because that's what school helps you with, right? They have their interview workshops, they have their resume workshops, but that's something you really need to have at the bare minimum, right? So if you think about it, when you go to a career fair and you have people that go, okay? You have one group of people. These are people that are not prepared, that are just going to show up. That's great, okay? Then you have people that go and they have all these basics covered. They have their impactful resume, they have all of these basics set up and ready to go. And that's great, but what we are is we're above that, we're in the top 1%. Because at the end of the day, we're going and we're competing for these jobs, right? It's not just unlimited amount of jobs for everyone. We need to go make an impact and we need to show that we're better and that we deserve this job over other people. So in order for us to do that, we have to find different ways to be exceptional and be in that top 1%. So these are the basics that you need to get sorted. I would suggest getting these sorted tonight so you can focus on the rest tomorrow. So impactful resume presentation. So this can consist of anything. This can be a binder. Something that I used to specifically do, which I loved, was I got a little vanilla folder or different colored folders based off where I was going in the event if the company had a specific color. And then I would take my resume, staple it in there, and then I would be able to hand them that as like a portfolio or a presentation when they were just collecting stacks of resumes, right? Where it's just paper. Okay, cool. Mine sticks out. So then they're gonna grab that later, right? So you can find your own unique way to do it. I wouldn't recommend getting a giant 3-prong binder, but you could get a small binder. There's multiple things that you can do, right? So it's very important to have an impactful resume and have an impactful resume presentation, because they're not going to look at it if it's just like everyone else's, and everyone else's is just a little thin sheet of paper. So maybe get a thicker paper. Lots you can do, but be creative and impact and just get that going. Next is dress professionally, right? So this is very key, but at the same time, go comfortable, right? I want you to be in your comfortable, nice, professional, maybe not a full suit. If you're comfortable in a suit, cool, but whatever you're happy in, right, where you can go out and be confident and be exceptional in that outfit, that's going to guarantee you a better position than if you were to just show up in a super formal wear, whatever the case is, right? So I want you to go and I want you to be your best self. So dress nice, dress business casual, but you don't necessarily need to dress super professional. If you can and you want to, sure, but just keep that in mind, right? That's the basics everyone else is worried about. Like, oh, okay, I need to go dress professionally. I need to have everything super formal and perfect. Okay, I need to go get steam pressed the day before. I need to make sure I have all this stuff picked out. But at the end of the day, that's not the most important thing. And the next 3 steps we'll go over are the most important things, right? Next, cover letters, ready to go, right? So this should just be your mission statement in life of you expressing your interest in the world of engineering and you guys wanting to be your best version of yourselves, right? So that's what these cover letters really should reflect. It should be your own personality, your own uniqueness that you're putting out into the world for other people to get, okay? So that's what that's gonna be consistent of. Next is LinkedIn. You want your LinkedIn to be updated. You need your LinkedIn to be updated, right? Because when you go to this event, when you go to career fairs and you're there, and then people might just look you up after if they like you enough and they see that your LinkedIn is not up to date, or it doesn't have a nice picture, or it doesn't have a nice background, or it's not, you're not active maybe, that could not be too good. But if you're active and they see that you're professionally, out there on LinkedIn, then that's only going to benefit you, right? Business cards. This is optional. Very nice to have, just in case. What if they're not taking resumes and they're only taking those online little QR code things, because you'll probably run into that, right? So then maybe, okay, well, here's a business card. At the end of the day, you still need to get a contact, but still, maybe that business card is going to be unique for yourself as well, because not a lot of people are going to do that. Not a lot of people are going to go out and get a little 250 pack of business cards for like 20 bucks or something like that. And that might just put you over the edge if you bring some and you happen to be able to give some out, right? Next, this is an action for you guys. This is not necessarily the basics. I want you guys to talk to 3 new people each day between now and the career fair. The reason is because you get the weirdness out, right? Because it's a lot to go and talk with someone and, go interact and make a good impression. But if we break the ice before we even get to the career fair and we're already warmed up, ready, and more to go, then that's really going to help us, right? So if you talk to 3 new people each day between now and the career fair, that's going to improve your social skills, really break the ice again, and warm you up. So this is the first step. Guys, take notes. Let me know if you have questions at the end, right? I want you guys to take notes, reflect. If you have questions, think about this. Again, be present here in this moment. This is the time for you to change your life. Next up, lead by example, right? So this is, again, unique in the way that we're going to approach this, right? So lead by example. No brainer, show up early. Show up early and stay late. That's the key as well. Because if we're planning this out and we're going to this career fair as, you know, as professionals and we're taking this seriously, we need to show up early. I'd recommend even showing up an hour early, 30 minutes early, like no less than that. And then staying late too, right? Because we're there, we should be taking our time with each recruiter. And then that's going to allow us to take all that time, maybe take a break even if it's just too much and it's too sporadic, and then go back. But you need to be there early and show up late so you can make that impression. Because if you're willing to show up early and stay late there, then people and the employers are going to see you as willing to show up early and stay late at the job, which is also going to put you ahead of others that don't. If someone just goes to that career for 5 minutes, right, then they might expect that person in their job to just show up for 5 minutes and do the bare minimum, right? But if you're there grinding, showing, right, leading by example, that's the key. Next up, hold the door for people entering, right? So this could be something you can do if you go there early, right? Because this is something unique that you can do, and I know that I've talked to a few of you about this situation in my life where I had the opportunity given me from opening doors. I went to like an open interview and application phase for somewhere, and then everyone was, you know, just waiting outside after they handed their resumes and stuff. And then I didn't want to just sit there and wait, so I decided to open the door for everyone, and I happened to open the door for someone that was interviewing me, right? So that made me look really good, right? So look for those little opportunities to lead by example, because you never know what that's going to get you, right? Number one, it's going to make you feel good because it is genuine and you should be caring about people, and leading by example for yourself. It's going to boost your confidence. It's going to really just make you into a better person. So you should be doing those things. If you see trash, pick it up. If you're at this career fair, you need to lead by example because you don't want to leave trash on the floor at your own home, right? So treat this like your life, treat this like your home, treat this like your place of work. Go pick up some trash if you see trash on the floor. That's another example of leading by example. Next, network with people in line, right? You might be nervous. We're going to talk about how to overcome this nervousness a little bit later, but network with people in line with you, right? So if someone is just like reviewing their resume right before they go and talk with someone, that's like if you don't know your resume, you don't know what you're doing with your life, by the time you're about to go talk with someone, you're probably not going to get the position, right? So you need to have that all sorted. That kind of goes into the basics and the setup, right? So that first phase, that number one, all that should be taken care of there, okay? So then this gives you the opportunity to network with people in line. So number one, you're boosting your network, obviously. But number two, more importantly, specifically for the career fair here, right? Maybe that recruiter is going to see you having a positive interaction because they might overhear you talking about some good stuff, some positive, you know, career enriching stuff. And then they might just associate you with being a leader because you're making a positive influence about those around you, and they're going to associate positivity, a good team, and teamwork with you, okay? Last but not least, spread positivity. That compiles everything, all these bullet points, right? If you take any note from here, spread positivity and it'll come back to you tenfold. All right? I want to make sure you guys are still with me. Pay attention, stay focused. I want you guys to really just make sure you're getting as much as you can out of this, right? Next is going to be gestures, okay? So gestures are also very key. And this is something to iron out when you guys are going and talking around people and talking with people, you know, like for that talk to 3 new people each day until the career fair, right? This is something you can iron out, right? So like take notes after, like each time after you talk to someone, because then you can reflect on what you need to do differently or how to make it better. But the proper body movements are going to really guarantee you a position as well. If you combine all of these things that we're going through, it's going to help you achieve your success. So gestures are very important because body language is also associated with a leader, right? You've probably never seen a bad leader with bad body language. You've never seen a bad leader not smile, right? So starting with that. Smile. The more you smile, the more happy you are. That's like a scientific fact. They've done research on that. Besides that being a scientific fact, you smiling is going to make other people smile. So if you're smiling with a recruiter and out of a recruiter and it's not forced and you're practicing beforehand, then it's going to be more genuine interaction. You're going to have more fun and it's going to be more natural, and they're going to see you as the leader that you are. Okay? Maintain eye contact. If you ever notice yourself talking with someone and then you shift your eye contact away, if you stare for too long or something, right? You just need to overcome that. You need to overcome that because if you maintain eye contact, that's showing that you're interested, you're paying attention, and it's just a real good way to connect with people as opposed to, just looking off, and that might just be awkward. And we don't want to be awkward. We want to be leaders. We want to present ourselves as the confident number one engineer that we are, right? So that's what you really need to do. Maintain eye contact and smile while doing it, right? Like you don't need to be a freaking smile like crazy, but you should be smiling, maintaining eye contact, focusing, leading into the next point, listening actively. Again, another reason why to talk to 3 new people each day up until the career fair is to practice this, okay? This is not going to be nailed the first time you do this, but listening actively. when they're talking, you could get caught up in the moment, right? Because I'm guilty of this too. Like, I've learned through going through these trials, right? So if you listen actively to what the recruiter is saying, okay, this recruiter, they might be saying something personal, and then you're just not listening because you're thinking about, okay, what do I need to say next to get this position, or what do I need to say next to look good, right? When you should just be listening, right? Because then you might recall something about if they talk about their dog or a sport they like, right? At the end of the conversation, and you remember that from 5 minutes of talking with them, that shows you care, right? So you really need to listen actively with everyone you're around, because that's also going to help you become a good leader by retaining what they're telling you and actively participating in their life and conversation and not just trying to get something out of it, right? So if you listen actively, smile, maintain eye contact, all that's the full package, right? And this is basic stuff that you guys probably already know, but at the same time, maybe you don't do it, right? So then why don't we do it? So we need to be doing it, which is why I'm going over it. So at the end, right, you could use your own saying, something that I've been saying, something that I like saying. Again, there's multiple scenarios for multiple different things, but they need to associate you with being a good team player and being a right candidate for the role, right? So end with something like wishing them the best day of their life. If you go up, you talk with someone for 5 minutes, and at the end, you say, okay, thank you, bye. What even is that, right? So like, we can't just be ending with some basic average, you know, not a good connection. If you say, like, and then you shake their hand, thank you so much. I really hope you have the best day of your life. Enjoy the rest of your career fair. Have a safe flight back. Take care, have a good weekend, and I look forward to hearing back from you. That's 100 times better as opposed to just saying, thank you so much, talk to you later. Like, you can't be doing that, guys. Gestures, all these things we just went over are critical to everything that you're going to be doing at this career fair, because it is going to build you into the person that you want to be, okay? So take that in mind. Again, making sure you're active in this conversation here. You guys need to take this to heart. You guys need to really focus in and take notes. Again, prepare to ask some questions if you have any, and really just take this and get ready to conquer this career fair. All right. Next up, reflection. So after going through all these steps, right? Then at the end, so now this is where we're like kind of wrapping up. We already talked to the recruiter. So this is reflection. This is what we're getting into, because this is something you need to repeat with every recruiter. So how to properly follow up with recruiters. Okay, so we kind of just talked about gestures, right? Leading by example. So if we set the precedent that we're a leader and we're doing good and we're confident and we're feeling really good and we're showing that, spreading positivity, everything we just went over, right? So find a way to personally connect with them. So if you find a way to personally connect with them, just like I said, with the dog or maybe a sport that they like, that's going to really carry over, because then afterwards you need to take notes immediately. Everything that you remember from talking with them, regurgitate onto a notepad in your notes. Maybe even take like a voice memo, right? And just talk into it, whatever works for you. But you need to really jot this stuff down, because in your follow-up, and even follow up months from now, right? Because you shouldn't just be contacting a recruiter once after the career fair. If you don't get a position right after, that's fine, but now we have a book of leads, or rather recruiters, for us to go talk to and reach out to and really boost our network, connections, LinkedIn, and really try to secure ourselves a job, because maybe we're just not ready for a role. But maybe in a few months, or maybe in half a year, we will be. If we maintain contact once a month, that's really gonna set us up for success. I promise you, right? So take notes immediately, and these notes can really be as detailed as you want, but they should be as detailed as you can be. Because the more that you remember, the more that you retain is better. If you, like, let's say you remember 6 personal things, like maybe they have a special project coming up in 2 months that they told you about, maybe their dog is something in a few months, a sports team, okay, and then maybe there's a book that they like, whatever, right? So we have 6 things, or however many things, right? Each one of those things is something that you can follow up with each consecutive month going in the future and going forward. So for the first one, so let's say they have a project coming up. All right, so next month, hey, so I remember you telling me about X, Y, and Z project. How did that turn out? I hope you did really good and it worked well for your team, right? Something like that. And then next up, after that, what you can do, so after you find a way to personally connect with them, you get those 6 things, right? So then the next one, let's say they have a book that they like. Follow up with the book and say, hey, I read the book. If you go through and then you talk with recruiters, right? And then you find a way to connect with them, and they say, okay, I actually love this book. You go out and read it, then follow up with them 2 months later saying, hey, I read the book, I love it, I thought of this, this, and that, and this applies to the career because of X, Y, and Z. That's gonna really be good. And then let's say after we talk with them and we jot down notes, right? The next thing that we find is something else, maybe their sports team, right? So if you find anything about recruiters, you really need to take the notes, but let's say the sports team, right? You go out and research the sports team. Let's say you're not in sports. That's fine, they are. So you need to go out and then research the sport, okay? And then once you go ahead and research that, maybe there's a game coming up in a few months and they're looking forward to it. Say, hey, so like month 3 after contacting them, hey, so I noticed that the sports team is having this and that. Woo, like go Jaguars, or like whatever it is, right? So that's something good too. Find a way to be personal. And at the same time as this, though, you also need to be growing professionally. So if this is on LinkedIn, or you're connecting them with email or whatever, in your little signature, you should also be including a little LinkedIn link to your LinkedIn. And then on there, while you're following up with everyone, right? Because this is about you building your brand and becoming a professional. So as you're contacting with them month after month after month, on your LinkedIn, you should be showcasing projects you work on or different things that you work on, so that everything is like flowing nice and consecutively. Because then if you're following up with them, maybe they're checking your LinkedIn each month, right? You follow up with them and they don't respond, or maybe they do respond. But if you're following up with them and they don't respond, I'm sure they're conscious and they see it, so they might go check your LinkedIn, right? If they check your LinkedIn and with that consecutiveness, they see that you're growing, that's going to be better than others, because they don't do that. Other students, other people, they don't do this as religiously as we should be, and as strictly and as disciplined as we need to be, okay? So that's point 1 and 2. Next, follow up with them the next morning at 8:30 a.m. So this is a give or take, right? So if the career fair is Thursday, maybe follow up with them Monday or Friday morning, that's fine. It just depends, and you might be able to pull out when they work or what their schedule is like from talking with them. But if they say, yeah, mornings are horrible for me, well, then don't follow up with them in the mornings. But typically mornings are slow sometimes, so that might be a good time for you to contact them. But you definitely want to be consistent with that too, right? So if you follow up with one recruiter, because this is something else, right? Pay attention to the small details and look for different opportunities for yourself, right? So if you follow up with them the next morning at 8:30 a.m., okay? We need to be tracking this stuff, like I just said, for that month 1, 2, 3, up to 6, or however long, right? Every time you contact them each month, if you email them at the same time, they're gonna notice that. They're gonna say, wow, he emailed me at 8:29 a.m. each of these times. That's attention to detail, commitment, and dedication. Then they're gonna start associating that with you, right? So like that's a little small detail too. You need to be looking for these opportunities for yourself, for you to create these trust and bonds and different ways that showcase that you're better and you deserve the position over other people. All right. Next is connect with them on LinkedIn. Leave them a review on LinkedIn and connect with their network. Okay. So that's something else too. So you can leave reviews for people on LinkedIn, right? That's going to be good. If you have a good interaction with them and then they give you a good piece of advice, you should go share that, right? Because they're trying to grow their brand too. And they're human, right? They're just like us. You know, we all have feelings. We all want to grow. We all want to succeed. We all have families. We all want to do X, Y, and Z, right? So if you go share that love on LinkedIn, then I mean, they're going to associate that with you too, right? Because we do care about people and we should care about people. And that's a good way for us to convey that we do care and we actually care. Right? So go connect with them on LinkedIn, leave them a review or whatever else you can do. Comment on some of their posts, right? Help them out. Help them out, they'll help you out, and then we can all help each other out. That's the name of the game, okay? This is step 4. So this is the final step. I'll do a little recap in a moment. And then I'm gonna do a recap and then come back for a secret confidence boost. All right, so I'm gonna just do a quick little recap for everyone to just get a nice, concise bullet point list. And then afterwards, I will open up some questions and then we can discuss on other little tips and tricks for prepare. So number 1 is the setup. Again, this is the basic stuff that you need to have done outside of everyone else, right? So this is what other people worry about. This is not something we need to worry about. You know, get your resume, get it nice, dress professionally, cover letters, LinkedIn updated, business cards, get all this set, and then focus on everything else to be in the top 1%. Everything else is as follows. Lead by example. Show up early, stay late. Again, this is a key thing. This is very, very key. I'm gonna say it again, same thing I said. If you show up early and stay late, then they're gonna see you in the role that they're offering as you showing up early and staying late. So that means that you're gonna be dedicated, and they know you're gonna be dedicated if you're dedicated to the career fair. Okay? A few other bullet points here, but you need to lead by example. Step 3 is gestures. This is key, right? And then going along with the practice of talking to three people each day before the career fair, that's a very key thing. I know I've gone over with that with some of you, but you really need to take that action. If you're not, you need to be. So now the proper gestures are going to really be key because that's going to show that you're actually a leader, you're conscious, you're actively listening, you're ready to go, and you're confident. Okay? We just went over reflection. All this is a package you need to put together, okay? Secret confidence boost, right? Because the key to all of this is confidence, right? Because if you know you're an expert at your craft and you know what you're doing with your life and you know every project you worked on that to the best of your ability and you really strove to be the greatest, right? Then you'll have confidence, right? The confidence is built over time by the actions that we took months beforehand, years beforehand, days beforehand, right? So like that all takes time to build up. Like you can't just flip the switch on. It takes a year, 6 months, or something to turn into the person that you actually want to be. right? So a little secret confidence boost that you can control right now before the career fair. This is not BS, this is real, right? Very simple. I've gone over this with some of you as well, but take care of the things you need to take care of before you go to the career fair. Let me give you a few examples. Let's say you have homework due, you have projects due, okay? So let's say you have all that due, right? You have 2 projects due next week, you have 4 homework assignments due between this week and the following week, and then you have an exam 2 weeks from now, right? So let's just use that first. Get all that stuff done before the career fair, right? Because between now and the career fair, you're not going to be like learning any new skills, right? It's not like we're going to have some kind of revelation where we're now more qualified than we are at the moment today, right? So you should be focusing on different things than that. Maybe clean up your resume with punctuation and grammar stuff, cool, that's fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're not learning new skills between now and then that are gonna make a big difference. So what you can do is if you get all these assignments and projects done ahead of time, right, that's gonna boost your confidence because when you've taken an exam and you know that you did good on it, or when you finish a big project and you know you did good on it, or when you finish your homework and you're done for the day or done for the night, imagine that feeling. You know that feeling. You know that feeling feels good. You know how that feeling feels inside, and that is confidence because you know you did some hard work, right? If you do all that before the career fair, then you show up at the career fair with that same feeling, imagine the success you're gonna have, right? This is no joke. This is a very quick secret confidence boost, right? So that's one example. A few more that we can go through. You guys can ask questions, right? Number 2 is clean up your apartment, house, room, whatever you have, right? Clean all that up before the career fair as well. If you leave the house with a nice clean room, confidence, I'm telling you, right? So that's really how this works. If there's any responsibilities that you've been putting off, procrastinating, if there's someone you haven't reached out to in a while that you know that you want to reach out to, maybe call your family if you haven't talked with them in a while and you really want to talk with them, right? There's so many examples of stuff that we can really turn the switch on before the career fair. That's what I want you guys to focus on, right? As many of those controllables as you can take care of, start tonight, right? So you can start homework tonight or anything like that. Make calls tomorrow, figure it out, but that's really what you really can do to boost your confidence between now and the career fair. And that alone is the number one thing you should take out of this to really get some more success at the career fair. All right? Without further ado, I'm gonna open up the questions. I'm gonna allow people to unmute. Give me 1 second. Okay. So, who has some questions? Questions, thoughts, or anything? Yeah. Great question. Great question. So what I would do, and it depends on the situation that you have the opportunity to give it out, right? I would make a generic cover letter and bring it to the career fair. You might not need to put that part of your resume, package. You can if you want, based off how you feel about that. I would if you really have a good, strong mission statement, but that one that you bring to the career fair. So that should be like a generic one, right? But that one is about you selling yourself, your dreams, your ambitions. It doesn't need to be specific because it can't be. You're not going to bring a specific one for each employer, or you could. That's a good way to prepare. But then you could follow up, right? And then when you follow up, have a specific cover letter. So you can kind of do like 2 birds, 1 stone with that. Some other questions? A 100%, right? So this is gonna dive down to everything that we just talked about, right? Because it's not necessarily always about your technical skills. As long as you're competent, confident, and you're able to express that, that's gonna help you get any position. But just for an example, and some other people that I've like worked with in different scenarios, right? So some people in a systems engineering position could have a statistics degree. Some people in a research engineering position, I know someone that's had a music degree, right? So just with that alone, you can already tell that there's no direct correlation with the position that you want. It's about the impact you make and the opportunity you seek, right? And what you're able to sell yourself on and the dream that you like believe. So if you believe in yourself, right, and you apply everything that we said, you get this confidence boost, right? And then you're just, living up to the standard that you set out for yourself on a day-to-day basis. That's going to help you break the grounds into going into whatever position. But to answer your question for how to directly go and talk with someone, just like you would talk with anyone, which is why I would suggest practicing before the career fair by talking to 3 random people each day. And I would suggest making them random just because that's going to improve your odds, because you're going to be talking to random recruiters there, right? So if you go talk with them, then that's practice to break the ice. And just how you break the ice with them, I would break the ice the same way with the recruiters. Like, hey man, I hope you're having a great day. Actually, you know what? I love your shirt. Where'd you get your shirt? Start with that. Start with something like that. Find something you like about them, or find something about the way that they talk and be like, hey man, I love the way you present yourself. Like how did you learn that? Start with something like that. So there's multiple ways to start with something, and it doesn't have to be technically related. And for how to relate it back to your skill set, right? Say that you're hungry, you're looking for an opportunity for a company where you can work as hard as you can to really accomplish your goals, live out to the dreams, and benefit the company. If there's anything here that can open the door for me, I would love it, and I would really appreciate it. Just something like that. Keep it simple. You got to shoot your shot all over and take as many chances as you can, and that's how you're going to increase those odds too. Any other questions? Got to be a few more. Career fairs in 2 days. What's something that someone's worried about? Yep. Yeah, so I wouldn't really ask them for anything necessarily, right? So like, you're going to sell yourself, and however the conversation flows, what you should get at the end of that is their contact information and a genuine positive relationship. So that should be your goal going into it. If you get a genuine positive relationship and their contact information, then that gives you permission to follow up with them, which is going to help improve your odds, right? Because they already know you're looking for a job if you're there. So that's already like the precedent. So like, you don't have to worry about telling them that. And then if you tell them your major, right? Because they're going to ask that, and say, yes, I'm an aerospace engineering major, but I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z in any opportunity that I can. I love this type of work, right? So whatever you like if you know what you like doing, right? Say that. But if you don't know what you like doing, then just keep it generic, that you're looking for any opportunity in a company with big goals and big dreams, and then you're willing to put yourself anywhere in there. But again, get that positive relationship and contact. That's what you need to ask for. Zahid, Rachel, got anything? Awesome. All right. Well, guys, we'll go ahead and go to, I got 2 more slides here. Again, I just want you guys to eternalize this, right? Because as part of FormAWin, the future of FormAWin, our values are leading by example, becoming unstoppable, and we are the 1%. I want you guys to eternalize that. You're part of this. You've experienced this. I want you guys to have that shift today, right? I don't want you guys to go to sleep right after this, right? I want you guys to at least go take one action. If it's your bedtime, cool, but go do something right after this, right? I want you to be fired up, ready to go live your best life. So go conquer the world, go do something, set up your plan between now and the career fair. Make sure you make a list of things you need to do everything I said. Let me know if you have questions, right? Message me, anything you need, I got you. I will be there for you. Remember these values, again, eternalize them. This is who you are. You guys are great. You guys deserve any opportunity that comes your way. You have to believe in yourself and show that. And with that, I want you guys to go win the week. Thank you all for everything. Hope you guys have a great week. Good luck at the career fair, and I'll talk to you guys later.